Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So, a few years back during the boom of those weirdly specific t-shirts on Facebook, I operated a design agency. My clients were people selling those shirts, and I had a couple designers in my company along with a huge pool of potential hires. One guy selling thousands of shirts hired my agency. We did some designs for him, and since I was stupid, I accepted to be paid after the work was delivered. Surprise, surprise, he didn't pay me and left me $500 in the hole. I was angry, but I moved on since I had a lot of work already. A few days later, I got his email asking if I was interested in designing shirts. This idiot CC'd me in the email along with some other designers. Since I had an agency, I recognized most of those designers because I had a huge pool of people I could potentially hire. I hatched a plan. He hired 3 separate designers. I know them because I still had access to his shared Dropbox folder, and I recognized those designers' names from my pool of potential hires. I waited a week and then sent those 3 designers an email offering them a higher pay. They left that client. Now the client had no designers and was desperate. So he hired me back and gave me $500 along with a 10% commission of shirt sales on Teespring that will pass 1,000 units. I put that provision in so that I could know what his winning shirts were. What I started doing was that I would use copyrighted vectors in the design and would upload the design on Teespring before sending them the design. Slowly I learned which designs were the winners based on the commission. This is when I struck. I partnered with the original artist about the copyright infringement to report those designs to Teespring and pointed Teespring to the original campaigns I uploaded. Teespring returned all the profit made off of those designs to the original artists, and I got a sweet $10,000 from it all from the original artist as a courtesy. Once the mission was accomplished, I posted the scammer details in every group forum and the site rip-off report so that he couldn't hire the next designers easily. You just don't mess with a man and his pay. So I'm 16. I got my first job at a store as a cashier / the person who looks over self-checkout. This was during the summer. Typically our store isn't that busy, so in the mornings when I worked, they would just have me watch the 4 self-checkout lanes that we had and no one was cashiering. This would make some people mad, but one in particular angry. So my coworker was just about to clock in soon. She typically stood behind the guest service desk for about 10 minutes and just talked to our manager, as our manager was one of the coolest managers you could have. We were open for no more than an hour and a half, and I was helping this older woman who didn't know how to use a self-checkout lanes. And here comes the entitled mother. "Excuse me?" Clearly talking to me. Just one moment. I finish up helping the customer and start to say have a nice day when the entitled mother comes speeding at me. She's now right in front of me. "Excuse me?" "Yes, hello. What can I help you with?" "I need you to tell a cashier to get here." "Our cashier gets here soon." "Well then I guess you're taking me over there to check me out." Pointing towards one of the cash registers. "I can't do that." "You have legs, so walk." "I'm required to stay over here in my work area." "Customers are always right. Don't they teach you this?" "I have to stay." Before I could even finish, she grabs my arm and starts to drag me. "Let me teach you young people how to cashier." Me resisting. "I know how to do my job, let go." The manager walks out from behind the customer service wall where all the online orders and things people didn't want are, as this got the attention of my manager and my co-worker. "Let's go." "Manager!" The manager walking up at a faster pace now. "Hey, how can I help you?" I tell him, "This customer would like a cashier." "Don't speak, child." He says, Okay, calm down. How can I help you?" "This brat was refusing to let me buy my items. He assaulted me and told me to get lost." The manager looks at me with almost a smirk. "How can I help?" I would like him to open a cash register and let me purchase my items without grabbing me inappropriately. The manager gives me a tiny smile so that the entitled mother doesn't see it, and he tells me, "Hey, go up to the front," pointing to the customer service area. Alright, I do, which is only about 10 feet away. The manager calls on her walkie for someone. "Ma'am, I got a backup cashier coming." "Okay, and I would like to press charges." "Sure thing." The manager looks at me and winks, and the security guard walks in. "You need backup?" The manager tells him, "No, just take this lady out for assaulting one of ours." The security guard grabs her and walks out the front door. Then the entitled woman starts screaming some insults. The manager walks up to me and says, "Dude, stop assaulting customers." Obviously joking, then points me to go back to the self-checkout area. "Do your job, kid." Laughing the entire time. The entitled woman had a scream fest outside saying how me was a dead kid, that she knows where I live and everything. Whole lot of threatening. A security guard drags her to the office where the cops are called, and then they ask me if I want to press charges, which I happily did. I was a head lifeguard at a water park for 4 years, so I have definitely seen my fair share of entitled parents. But one entitled mother almost let her kid drown because of it. At the park I work at, we have a bunch of slides, a wave pool, and one regular swimming pool that has these little plastic water slides that empty into it, that we also use for training. The shallow end is about 3 feet and the deep end is 10. But the water slides empty into the 4 to 5 feet end. A lot of people underestimate the depths, mostly parents and young children, and find themselves having to swim back to the wall instead of standing. I'm only 5'2", so even I still have to swim from that slide. Because of the depths, we require everyone under 4'8" to wear a life jacket no matter where they are in the pool. It's a state law. As you can imagine, a lot of parents aren't happy with this. And though we have free life jackets as a courtesy, on very busy days we run out. But our biggest issues come from the parents who are convinced their child is the next Michael Phelps. On this particular day it was fairly busy and I'd enlisted a couple of my lifeguards to look for life jackets that were left in the cabanas, bathrooms and so on instead of hanging back up. A little kid came running to the pool and I noticed his height. About 2 inches too short. Poor little guy. "Hey buddy, I am so sorry, but you can't swim in this pool without a life jacket." The entitled mother walking up behind him. "Oh, it's alright, he can swim." Unfortunately, because of the state law, I can't let him in the water without a life jacket. "He's on the swim team. He's perfectly fine." "I'm sorry, ma'am. It's not our rule. It's the law." She rolls her eyes and huffs off, but manages to find her kid a life jacket. So I take my eyes off of them and make more attention to my zone. Regular irritated parent, no big deal. Fast forward about 10 minutes and I see this kid climb up the slide. It's the child. So I whistle at him and take him to his mother and again say, "Ma'am, I understand he can probably swim, but he cannot go down the slide or go in the pool without a life jacket." "Absolutely not. I am not putting that death trap back on my child." "I understand, but…" "He can swim perfectly fine. He's on a swim team. He's fine." Me beginning to get irritated. "I legally cannot let your child touch that water if he does not have a life jacket on." "No, it was choking him. I will not have my child choking and dying. Goodbye." I almost cracked up, but she'd walked off, dragging her kid with her. So I rolled my eyes and didn't think anything of it. Every 20 to 30 minutes, we rotate positions as lifeguards to keep our eyes fresh and our energy up. So our lovely entitled mother decided to wait until we rotated to try and bring her child back. Unfortunately for her, I just moved to the other side of the pool. About 10 minutes into the rotation, I noticed a distressed swimmer. Swimming but clearly struggling and barely moving. It's the stage before active drowning. He was about 5 feet from the slide. I whistle, jump in, yank the swimmer onto my tube, and lo and behold, it's the same child. Now I am mad, but not as mad as the entitled mother. She's sitting in a lounge chair on the side of the pool, not paying attention at all. Side note for parents: lifeguards are not your babysitters. I help the kid out and drag him to his mother. Ma'am, this is the third time I have tried to talk to you. Your child almost drowned in the pool because he… The entitled mother, horrified: Did you just touch my child? I rescued your child. I did not give you permission to save my child. You have no right to touch him. You should have asked me first before just grabbing him like that. I did not see you anywhere. You were not watching your kid. So I had to make a decision. Yes, I was. He was swimming fine. How dare you save him just to prove your point? Just admit you're on a little lifeguard power trip. I want to speak to your supervisor. I love when people want to speak to a supervisor because at this water park, they are almost always on the lifeguard side. So my supervisor comes over. This lifeguard won't let my child swim in the pool. She gave him a life jacket that was choking him and then dragged him out of the pool without my permission. The supervisor tells her, Your child is too short. But he's on a swim team. If he can't swim, he shouldn't have to wear one. Now, I've been having the same conversation over and over for about 45 minutes at this point. My supervisor asked her to give him a minute and move to the side to talk to me. Sometimes, if the children are near the correct height, we let them swim if there are no adequate life jackets and they seem like strong swimmers, and have a reliable adult with them. So my supervisor decided to extend this privilege to the entitled mother. Thank you. I can't believe it took this long for you to see sense. I hope she gets written up at the very least for ruining my son's day. She was doing her job, but I'm sorry it made things difficult for you. The entitled mother goes back to chatting with her friends, and her son runs happily back to the slides, where he nearly drowned once already, and he slides down it. And sure enough, he starts drowning. But I'm not allowed to rescue her son because he can swim, right? He's on a swim team. He's great. I'm actually about to jump in when my supervisor stops me and gets the mom's attention. Ma'am, your son is drowning, he tells her. The entitled mother rolling her eyes and walking over to the edge of the pool and says, He's not. He's swimming fine. By this point, the son has moved from distressed swimming to active drowning. His mouth is popping up and down over the water. His eyes are wide, arms desperately grabbing for something, but he isn't moving anywhere. And no, none of the other patrons noticed because they were all doing their own thing. And drowning is very quiet and uneventful. Now I'm getting antsy. I don't want a kid drowning on my watch, even if I don't have permission from the parent to rescue them. The entitled mother's friend comes over to see what's going on, gets wide-eyed and gasps, and the entitled mother falls into hysterics. What are you doing? Don't just stand there. Do something to save him. Despite my anger, I need no second bidding. I jump in, grab the poor kid for a second time, and pull him out. The supervisor says, Please put a life jacket on him next time, or take him to the children's area where he can swim wherever he likes without one. Didn't even say thank you, just shot me a dirty look, signed the incident report, and hauled her shivering child away. She was also banned from ever coming back here. Edit. Some people are doubting the legitimacy of this story, which, fair, if someone is doing something illegal and life-threatening, law enforcement should be called. That being said, on a day when our relatively small water park is filled with 6,000 people, situations like this end up being the least of our concerns. As upsetting as it is, it was handled. The child was safe the entire time. He struggled for a bit, but he took in no water. He didn't slip below the surface of the water, and we sent him to a medic just to be safe. I've seen dozens of supervisors, lifeguards, and swim teachers do very similar things. If I kicked someone out of the park, which I cannot do, a supervisor or my manager has to do, every time they endangered someone or even did something illegal and endangering, I wouldn't have time to actually ensure people don't drown. As crazy as that sounds. Another edit. I just wanted to clear up a couple more things. Legally, I had no right to jump in a second time if the parent told me no. It's similar to refusing medical assistance at a hospital. A lot of people are thinking I didn't jump because the parent was being rude and I was being petty. But I didn't jump because 1. My supervisor told me not to, and 2. I was legally obligated not to. If I had jumped without the parents' permission, she could have sued the park and could have won. It's dumb, I agree, but we are technically following the law. I saved her child once, and then she explicitly told him not to save him again. And for the record, regardless of the law, I would have saved the child anyway if it got to a certain point and the entitled mother still hadn't given us permission. I don't care if my park gets sued, or has to shut down, or I never get another job. I don't want someone's death on my hands. This was a few years ago, but it still brings me joy to this day. My husband and I were waiting for our mobile order, and the line was out of the door due to a parade or school event nearby. The poor girls behind the counter were understaffed or someone was on their break when this Karen walked in. She's definitely too old to be rocking the hand solo look, boots, leggings, and puffy vest. She also has a mobile order she's keen on destroying all in her path to obtain. It helps to know that this is when mobile ordering was getting way more popular in my area. Karen walks in and heads directly to the mobile pickup area. Coffee app pulled up on her phone and flags down a barista by yelling, "Excuse me, I ordered my coffee 22 minutes ago. Where are they?" "I'm sorry ma'am, what's the name of your order?" Karen, pointing to her phone screen, says, "I have a venti blah 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 extra shots of blah 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 with 7 pumps of gigantic blah." Sorry, I can't remember the 3 drinks she ordered. I don't understand why it's taking you guys so long. This is ridiculous. It's only 3 drinks. "I'm sorry ma'am, but I'll check on them. We have a lot of customers." Karen interrupts the barista. "I ordered more than 20 minutes ago. Where are my drinks?" The barista turned around to try and find this horrible woman her drinks, and I had absolutely enough of her nonsense. Me interrupting Karen's rant, "Excuse me, but don't you see the line out the door? Don't you notice that there is only one poor girl taking orders and another making coffee? They are obviously understaffed at this moment, and your attitude is not helping anyone's day. You need to cut these poor girls some slack. Their jobs are demanding and not easy, especially when people like you yell at them for no good reason." Karen turns to me, mouth wide open, in absolute shock that anyone would ever speak to her this way. She just stares at me for a few seconds until the barista comes back and calls her name to give her 2 of the 3 coffees she ordered. "I'll put these in the car." Karen explains that she's still waiting for a 3rd beverage. The barista mouthed, "Thank you," silently to me. Karen comes back in and retrieves her final coffee, staring daggers at me the entire time. She left with her deflated ego and overpriced coffees. The barista brought up our coffees shortly after and thanked me again. I told her that they never deserved to be treated like this, and that it was so ridiculous that I couldn't sit by and watch it any longer. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.